Somebody drew a picture of us. I'm still tripping out about that.
Yeah, someone drew. It's like we do have some fan art. Is it gone? The first original fan art was from Devilman, but it's not of us. It's a drawing of an old lady scrubbing Yazuke's testicles.
Yes.
But now we got
somebody actually took the time to draw an amazing picture of us.
That's never happened before.
The only other person that has ever drawn a picture of me is you, and that was when we were recreating the scene from the Titanic. And that was years ago when we were young, adventurous boys.
Wait, I drew you getting your brain sucked out for your birthday once.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You recreated the scene from Starship Troopers.
Sucked his brains out.
And speaking of Starship Troopers, that's something we're going to be talking about next.
But first, thank you.
But Snatch Face Mahoney.
Snatch Face.
Which, by the way, fucking amazing name.
Yeah.
I thought that
very mature name.
I thought that Womb Raider really took the cake for having one of the best screen names I've ever seen. But Snatch Face Mahoney is fucking good.
Yeah, your parents must be strange people to name you that.
Yeah, probably had hippie parents. But Snatch Face Mahoney, thank you so much for the fan art. I'm sure that Joel will probably throw it up on the screen at some point.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Right now it's up on the screen.
Okay.
If I remember.
Is it another whale dick?
Yes.
Okay, well, after the whale dick is done being displayed, we'll show the fan art from Snatch Face Mahoney. But it's a reference to one of our early episodes about Julius Caesar and the Triarii. Mm-hmm. And it's just so fucking good. I mean, all night last night, we were both just stoked about it because somebody took the time to draw a fucking picture of us.
And it's a sweet-ass drawing.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
That took work. It took some time
I want to get a print made, and I want to frame it and I want to put it on the wall.
For sure. Speaking of, we got to fix one of your little signs that's falling down there.
Yeah, it's not in the frame. It'll be fine for now. It might fall down during the episode, but I'll fix it later. Something else that's kind of a cool development is we've gotten a few different packages from fans. We've gotten some very good whiskey from Special Agent Roxy Bigcum's drink. We got a box full of books, which are now on the shelf behind me, that I hope to God someday I'm going to have the time to read, because there's a lot of really good military books in there, and I love reading that type of shit. Probably one of my favorite types of books to read is military history, or like memoirs from veterans. But we got another package recently that really fucking blew my mind, because in the same
week we got two
in the same week
crazy surprises.
It's been a very eventful week for us. But we got a box of actual historic artifacts, which is fucking amazing. Before we get into that, welcome to the Iconoblast podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value. My name is Cooper. Across from me is Joel Binner. And
what's up? Oh, sorry.
We put the past on blast. Hit them with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast.
The Iconoblast podcast, presented by GhostBed.com. So yeah, we got this package, which the person who sent it, I don't like giving out people's real names on the show unless they tell us that we can.
Okay, yeah.
So the person that sent us this package, you know who you are, told us beforehand that they were going to be sending something. They called it a care package, and I thought that,
dildo or a drawing of a dildo.
The usual stuff, like the same type of stuff that my mom sends me when she says she's going to send me
an envelope. Package. You open it and it's just a middle finger.
Yeah, and then
fuck you, or
a new bottle of lube, because she knows I'd go through that stuff super fast. But this was actually a box full of actual historic artifacts. So I'm going to read through the letter that we got along with everything, and as I'm reading through it, I will hold up each item that they sent.
Perfect. Love it.
The letter says, "Dear beloved Iconoblast hosts."
Already love it.
Yeah, it's good. "Since joining your listening audience, I have been stirred into action. In the last several months, I've begun an Indiana Jones-esque campaign, traveling across the world to recover artifacts on behalf of the average, joy-loving, humorous, history-appreciating idiots like myself, and assumably much of the rest of this show's audience. I honestly think that we're probably the two biggest idiots involved with this show in any way, shape, or form. A good portion of our audience is much, much smarter than us.
They don't know that yet.
Bleep that part out. Enclosed in this package, an iron Roman crucifixion nail from the 1st century BCE. This should satisfy some of your Caesar lust as well as give some insight into the early crucifixions he carried out. It is rumored that this nail actually belonged to one of Julius Caesar's pirate captors.
Holy shit.
So I'll hold this up for the camera now.
That's crazy.
Iron nail from the 1st century BCE. And some of this stuff sounds slightly, some of the descriptions sound a little sarcastic.
Suspicious, maybe?
I don't know about
that nail was stabbed through someone. Probably.
Still,
or maybe not probably, but possibly that was stabbed into somebody.
I think that this might be my favorite part of the entire package that we got, just because it's an iron Roman nail.
Yeah,
which,
cool.
I'm fairly obsessed with Roman history.
You have a murder boner for Julius Caesar.
Well, I wouldn't want to murder him. I just have a straight up boner for Julius Caesar. That's
for
why
you. It's a half bone.
I've got him sitting right here next to me.
It's always the most you can get is a half chub. But we can continue.
It's a lot of flesh to fill with. I don't have that much blood in my body. Also included is a widow's mite, a flat, small, poorly made iron token, otherwise signifying a fraction of the lowest form of actual monetary value given to the widow of the executed, often as one final slight.
What does that mean?
This is kind of small, so it might be hard to see on camera. But this here is the widow's mite. I'll use my...
What's a widow's mite? It's like a tiny little coin or something?
I just read it to you.
It doesn't make sense,
though. Flat, small, poorly made iron token, otherwise...
It's a token.
Yeah, it's like... It looks like... For the people...
like video games? Like Chuck E. Cheese or something?
Yeah, I think that you could take this to Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese, and it would let you at least play one game. You could play some skee-ball with this.
What would they use those for?
Signifying a fraction of the lowest form of actual monetary value given to the widow of the executed, often as one final slight. So it was, from this description, it was an insult. It was like,
oh, okay, that's what I was trying to figure out.
A fraction, in modern times, it would be like a fraction of a penny given to the wife of somebody who was executed by the state, just to be like,
fucked.
Here's some compensation for your husband dying.
You can't buy anything with this.
And back in the days that things like this were used, a woman without a husband was in a pretty bad situation because, they probably weren't even letting women learn how to read. Definitely not letting them get a decent paying job.
They could work for free, though, if they wanted.
They could become prostitutes.
That's so fucked up.
And apparently make some decent money. There's nothing wrong with prostitutes. It's the oldest profession on earth. It's a profession that's practiced by animals as well.
Well, what's wrong is that was like the only job they could do.
Yeah, it kind of shoehorned them into only, you're either a mother.
You want to make money?
You're either letting your husband shoot some kids into you, or you're letting a bunch of strangers shoot some kids into you.
Yeah, what was the birth control like back then?
I know the ancient Egyptians used crocodile shit. And they would just cram that up in there to stop the semen from doing its job. We didn't have very good birth control until around the 60s. Also included, a Spanish 2-bits doubloon fragment dated around the years of Christopher Columbus's voyage, recovered from the private collection of a dangerous pirate king. So that's this right here. It's a small triangular, it looks like a little slice of pizza.
Yeah, it does. But it's like the size of your pinky nail.
Yeah. But,
can I see that one?
That's
again? Give it a nice slide. Yeah.
It's an honest-to-God fragment of a Spanish doubloon from the same time period that Christopher Columbus made his voyage. I don't know how much any of this stuff actually cost money-wise.
This has like an official logo from a company or something?
Yeah.
So this...
Yeah, it's certified by the National Numismatist...
International Numismatist.
Numismatist means a coin collector.
Numismatic.
Oh, numismatic.
Yeah, duh. Everyone knows that.
I'm sorry. I'm talking down to our audience right now. I apologize, everybody. But yeah, part of a Spanish doubloon from the same era that Christopher Columbus made his journey.
That's fucking awesome.
I mean, I don't care if I don't know how much any of this stuff is actually worth, but to me, like, this is the type of
It's
stuff
priceless good.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, regardless of the actual monetary value, these are actual links to really associated with stuff that we've talked about on the show.
Each one, yeah.
And it really
so
just
cool.
blows me away being able to look at this stuff and be like, holy shit, this was a Spanish doubloon that was in circulation in the same time period that Christopher Columbus.
It could have been on his boat with him.
He could have given that to the cabin boy for a little hand job, because I doubt he was.
Well, he wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Maybe give him a couple.
He could have given that
to go get some bread.
He could have given that to one of the natives in the Caribbean for a hand job.
Yeah, or he could have given that to a doctor to sew up the cabin boy's butthole.
Or he could have given that to a doctor for a little mercury treatment for the horrible syphilis that they brought back from the New World.
Or he could have given that to the queen to not tell the king about what they did. Or was it vice versa?
He gave that to the king to not tell the queen.
That's what it
did.
was. That's what it was.
Or the king paid him to be like, hey, look, man, just don't say anything about this, all right?
Or he could have stole that from his dad, who was a drug dealer.
True. This
could be drug money.
This is drug money from the 1400s.
There is a possibility that that's drug money from Christopher Columbus's father, who used to sell weed inside cheese.
He was a cheese dealer.
With drugs inside.
Allegedly. Theoretically.
Possibly. Probably not.
Next up, a Japanese coin of nearly 300 years old. I mean, that's older than both of us. Put together.
Combined. Fuck.
A Japanese coin of nearly 300 years old, donated by a generous but silent Kanushi, or Shinto priest. It is unfortunately as close as I have been able to get to Yasuke's time, though my hunt continues. So this right here is an iron Japanese coin from between 1739 and 1867.
It's pretty cool.
I absolutely love all of this stuff.
Why would they have squares in the middle?
Because they would carry their coins on strings. Instead of using coin purses, they would run a string through the middle of them to hold them all together.
That's pretty cool. You learn something every day on this show.
Yep, that's what we're here for. We are an informational podcast.
Japanese coins have holes in the center, so you can put a string through it.
I think they still do.
Come on,
a friend of mine when I was in elementary school, his family had a Japanese exchange student come and stay with them for a couple months, and she brought a bunch of coins that had those square holes in the middle of them.
I didn't see any when I went to Tokyo. Maybe she was from the rice fields. Drink,
yeah. I already made it through my first spicy ranch water.
And in case this is your first show you're listening to, there's an ongoing drinking game on the show where if you say anything racially or culturally insensitive, you have to take a drink.
You have to take a drink. And it's actually required to be a listener of the show.
Yeah. If you're listening, you have to drink too.
So the only way that you can get out of that requirement is if you're part of AA. Then we're not going to try and get one of your tokens taken away from you, because those are actually really important, and I respect the struggle that.
Well, Coop does. I'll still be disappointed in you.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably, but
I'm an asshole.
I've got respect for what you're doing. Next up is a Challenger space shuttle patch embroidered after the construction of the shuttle in 1983, securely locked away in a time-lock safe before the unfortunate explosion in 1986. And remember when I first opened the package, the first thing that I saw was this patch.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this has to be one of the patches from the mission that exploded.
Yeah.
With the teachers on it. Sure enough, it was. And this is fucking, I mean, look at the condition of that thing.
It looks brand new.
It's 1 year older than I am, and it's in pristine condition. Joel, what have I told you about blocking my camera? People tune in for this. This is the whole reason that people watch the video, is so they can see this, and you're blocking it.
Oh, sorry.
So according to the letter, NASA will not even realize this has gone missing for another 12 to 15 years when they open the safe in preparation for the 50th anniversary. So he had to pull a heist to get that.
Yeah. He stole that from the magic box, the black box?
It was a time lock safe.
Mm.
So this next one was sent specifically for me, and I am it's my second favorite thing after the Roman coin, which I feel horrible saying that it's my second favorite thing after the Roman coin.
I can't believe it's second.
I know it's kind of it's
You're
hard.
Not sure. You're not sure.
Yeah,
it depends on the day.
Yeah,
right?
it's a toss.
You're
it's
a
a
very
toss up
emotional
between
person.
the two. Dude,
Very sensitive.
I've got
one day it could be this, one day
I've got
it's
mood
that.
swings like a woman. I get them from my mom.
I have my mother's mood swings.
For Cooperson, as a fellow mobile infantry citizen, I feel only you would most appreciate this. A token of victory from Clendathru. I infiltrated the heavily guarded Funko artifact warehouse to retrieve a model of our eternal enemy. And this is one of the warrior bugs from the Starship Troopers movie.
Open it, dude.
And
you can put it back in the box later.
But as soon as you open it, the value decreases. Joel, these are collectibles.
No, cut the tape with the knife.
I don't think there's any tape on here.
Yeah, open that thing. Mm-hmm.
This just depreciated in value by at least 50%.
It's priceless. It hasn't always been worth infinity.
This can't depreciate in value.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah.
It's so much cooler out of the box. See? Fuck. That is awesome.
See, kind of hard to see. I'm not my face is a pretty good backdrop because it's stark white. So maybe that.
We'll take a picture of the collection and post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's what we should do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Can
I see that thing?
Yeah. Be careful with it.
Oh.
It's priceless.
Holy shit, it's fucking awesome.
That is going to get... all of these things are going to end up being a part of our set.
Dude, it looks... It's real.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah, it looks awesome. This thing's badass.
We have been trying to figure out how to properly display these. I know that the warrior bug it's going to take a place of honor right next to the Iconodong.
I think you should do that right now.
Here, I'll put it in its place.
Try putting that dong on its side and then putting the... see if that bug will fit on top of it.
It's going to be off balance.
Lay the balls on its side.
I really should
hang
not.
the balls off the edge. Oh, now we're talking. See that light? Little if you can get it an inch further out towards me.
I only have so many inches to work with, Joel. We've had this conversation so many goddamn times.
Just get it a little closer to me, right towards me, and then
It's
okay. Just bring it a little closer.
Why does it feel like the Iconodong
touched it?
has had lube on it?
Because Giorgio got a girlfriend.
I don't need lube. Oh,
there it is. Now, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it.
The bug killed the Iconodong. No, it's making love to it.
It's marching its way towards victory. Okay, so last but not least, for the one and only Joel Benner, in honor of your continued stellar representation of an Austrian legend, an Ein Kreuzer coin.
Ein Kreuzer, yeah.
So that's this right here. Once again, I'll use
it's a coin.
My face as a backdrop.
What is it?
This 200-year-old solid copper piece represented the gold standard for the greater area of Europe for over 100 years. I hope it empowers your accent even further.
Pretty cool.
My only regret is that I could not retrieve the Turbo Man doll. Yet.
Yeah, the Turbo Man doll. I've got a couple of those at my house.
They're notoriously hard to get, though. Sinbad's still looking for one.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the next premiere. Signed, your personal ghost.
1816.
And then it's got his real name, but I don't want to use his real name without permission. So this letter...
This smells funny.
This letter is going to be framed, and it's going to be going on the set somewhere also.
We should get like a big cork board or something with a bunch of little pins and hang each one up on it like that. So we can move it around and shit.
A shadow box or something like that.
Something where they stick in.
Yeah.
But they can be easily moved around as we gather new items.
Oh, yeah. I honestly never thought that people were going to be sending us anything like that. I mean, we've talked about it before on the show that... Yeah, that's yours.
Sweet.
So the oil from your fingers will cause that to...
These are Austrian oils that are on my fingers. That's what makes the coin.
It makes the coin stronger.
Powerful. Yeah. Makes it stronger. Yeah.
We've talked about it before on the show that
I've got the coin.
all of this stuff is so fucking cool.
I'm going to stick this coin inside me.
That's going to corrode it for sure. Good luck getting that out. That's in there next to all those Legos you lost.
Thanks, Ghost.
I get a major boner over stuff like this because it's a direct connection to the history that we talk about.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool.
These are things that have experienced, I mean, they're inanimate objects, so they can't really experience it, but these are things that were around during some of the topics that we've covered.
Yeah, that's really
cool.
And
it blows me away how cool that is, being able to hold these and look at them. It's just a direct connection to the things that we've talked about. But as we've said on the show before, it's really amazing the amount of support that we've been getting and the point that the show's gotten to now where, you know, we're getting a lot of interaction with the listeners. We're getting amazing gifts from the listeners. Messages every day.
We're almost at 1,000 followers on Instagram now.
We've got over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which, I mean, compared to other big channels, that's not a whole lot, but this is something
fucking huge for us.
It's amazing because this is something that we've been building from the ground up for years now.
Yeah.
And
it's finally starting to pay off.
We've had conversations talking about like, oh man, it'll be so cool once we have listeners that we can interact with, and also sponsors, which is another thing that's really amazing because that's what's keeping the show going, and that's thanks to everybody that's supporting the show. The fact that we have a brand new sponsor to promote today. Another new one, and that is a direct result from the amount of support that we've been getting from all the people listening to the show, and we seriously can't thank all of you enough. We appreciate every single person that's been supporting the show and enjoying the show. It means so much to us.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. I've never been in a position like this before where people that I've never met are appreciating...
Give a fuck?
Yeah.
At all?
Appreciating something that we're doing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cheers to them. Cheers. Drink.
Cheers.
Fuckers.
Drink. This is to all of our listeners. We appreciate you all so much.
Yeah.
Something else we appreciate. This is a new sponsor that we have. And again, this is thanks to all the amazing support that we've been getting from our listeners. And that new sponsor is Simplisafe.
Nice.
And we shot a promo with Dakota Meyer for Simplisafe.
Simplisafe is a sponsor on is it just for him or is it on American Party?
I'm not sure if they have it on American Party. I think they do, but I know Dakota. I mean, we obviously did
we installed it in his house and shot a video for him. It's honestly, a cool
video. If I'm going to take any advice on a home security system from anyone,
Dakota,
it would be from Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer. I think that guy knows a thing or two about keeping his family safe.
If he trusts him, then we should trust him.
Oh yeah.
I know he has it installed in his house, and he said he's going to install another one in his garage.
Yeah,
his separate building or whatever he's building.
Yeah, we were there the whole time he was setting it up and
cool.
watched him through the whole process. So this is a company that is endorsed by Dakota Meyer. There's big news from our favorite home security company. Simplisafe has just launched their new wireless outdoor security camera, which means the system that U.S. News & World Report named as the best home security system of 2021 just got better. This new outdoor security camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and features you need to keep you and your family safe. The new camera has an ultra-wide 140-degree field of view so you can cover more of your property with each camera. It also has 1080p HD resolution with an 8x zoom, which lets you zoom in and clearly see critical details like faces and license plates. It also has a built-in spotlight with color night vision, so you can keep an eye on what's going on day and night. The wireless camera runs off of an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery, which makes it perfect for places that don't have nearby power outlets. This camera easily integrates with your Simplisafe home security system, extending your protection outside of your home.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you can buy more shit for it, and it just auto connects to the home base module thing.
Yeah, and we watched Dakota set everything up from start to finish, and it took him like 15, 20 minutes to put everything together.
Yeah. It took 15, 20 minutes because we were shooting each step at the same time, so we had to move a little slower for the camera.
Yeah,
so you could probably do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, if you're setting this up on your own, it just takes a matter of minutes to get everything.
And it's got like two-sided tape, so it doesn't damage the walls. You just put the tape where you want the camera or the sensor and just stick it on there.
Yep.
And it auto connects. Like, he didn't even have to like type in a code or do anything. It's all already connected before you even open the box.
The setup process to get everything to connect together is, just unbelievably simple.
Yeah, your grandma could do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if my grandma could. She's probably a skeleton by now.
Mine too. Oh.
To learn more about the exciting new Simplisafe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplisafe.com/icon. What's more, Simplisafe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off of your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplisafe.com/icon.
We got another of our own
promo code. Yeah.
Fuck.
That's our second promo code just for
promo
us.
Code.
And what that means is the more people that sign up for the service using that promo code, the more likely the company is to
stick around
to keep
with
sponsoring us.
That's something that I wanted to say because what's cool is they're supporting us, and then we try to support them by getting you fuckers to buy some of their shit. So if you're looking to get a security system or something like that, just try this one. Because it'll help us, it helps you, it helps them. It's like all around if you're already thinking about getting one.
Yeah, and honestly...
and I know it works. I saw it. I've used it. I've set it up. It works. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. There's a reason that it's the number one security system.
So if you need one for your house or thinking about getting one, get a Simplisafe one. Use that promo code icon. If you're at work and your work's looking at one, talk them into getting one too and use that icon.
Yeah.
Anyone you know, friends, their place getting robbed all the time. I think you could use Simplisafe on your car. Install Simplisafe in your car.
I'm not sure if you'd be able to set it. I'm sure that some tech-savvy people would be able to do it.
It's a little more complicated because it needs power.
You need a power source for the base unit. The wireless cameras that they're promoting right now run off of battery power, so you can charge those and set them up anywhere.
Sweet. If you've got a fort underground out back at your parents' house, if you live with your parents and you have like a tent base, you could use it for that.
I would be promoting it to my parents, but they already have one.
Oh, they already have Simplisafe?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. I thought you said they already had something else.
Oh, no, they already have Simplisafe.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, they can get that. Now they can get the outdoor thing.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, get them to get the outdoor thing.
I'll get them to pick up the new outdoor camera.
Make sure they use promo code ICON.
Oh, of course I would. So next up, the Iconoblast podcast is presented by ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros. Ghostbed has been a loyal sponsor of the Drinkin' Bros for 5 years now, and everyone is raving about their mattresses and pillows. Ghostbed makes their high-quality mattresses right here in the USA, and each mattress comes with a 20-year warranty. You can try a Ghostbed mattress for 101 nights, and if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it, no questions asked. Their mattresses and pillows have cooling technology to help keep you cool at night, which is especially helpful if you live in the dirty South like we do. You can buy a mattress for around $35 per month, and they have no money down, 0% financing plans. Ghostbed also offers bundles so you can get everything you need in one convenient package. Just choose from their 4 mattresses and then pick your bundle. Whether you just need a mattress and a frame or you want it all, like their cooling pillows and sheets, you can always get the best bang for your buck.
You could have it all.
My cooling pillows and sheets.
Yes.
Ghostbed is offering 40% off when you buy a mattress and adjustable base, or 30% off of your entire order when you use the promo code Drinkin' Bros. And now they're running a new deal just until the 10th of this month, just until September 10th, 2021. And I actually think this is one of the coolest promotions that I've ever heard. Ghostbed also has an additional limited time promo running from now through September 10th, where if you order a mattress or mattress bundle, they will treat you to dinner at Olive Garden. No
Whoa.
joke. All you have to do is ping GhostBed on Facebook or Instagram with your order, and they will send you a $50 gift card for Olive Garden.
That's fucking awesome.
So if you get a mattress or mattress bundle, GhostBed is going to personally treat you to dinner at Olive Garden.
That's awesome. How does that work?
Once you place your order,
Show it to them on Facebook?
On Facebook or Instagram, and
Okay.
then they will send you a $50 gift card to Olive Garden.
That's fucking awesome.
Head over to ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros to take advantage of all their awesome deals. Once again, that is ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros. Ghostbed. Sleep so good, it's scary. So we've gotten a lot of requests to continue our series on Julius Caesar. And unfortunately, today, that's not what we're doing.
But it is what we're doing. No.
No, it's not what we're doing. We're talking about somebody who was alive during the same time and had a lot of interaction with Caesar, yes, and it just so happens to be the next portion of the Caesar story that we would have told if we were continuing the series on Caesar.
Okay.
Also, as I mentioned on the show before, one of my favorite parts of the story of Julius Caesar, which is the interactions with Vercingetorix.
Vercingetorix.
Which I'm sure that I'm still pronouncing the name wrong, but it's Vercingetorix. The W is, or the
Gigi,
V is
help
pronounced
us?
as a W. Yeah, Gigi, if you know, is the G in Vercingetorix, is that pronounced like a soft G, like a J, or is it Vercingetorix?
Vercingetorix sounds cooler.
That's how I've heard it pronounced the majority of the time.
Vercingetorix.
I have heard some people say Vercingetorix.
Vercingetorix.
But as we were told by Gigi, the C's are a hard C sound. They didn't use a soft C. So it's Vercingetorix. So without further ado, here is part 1 of a 2-part series called The Rise of Vercingetorix.
Vercingetorix.
Those of our listeners who followed along with our series on Julius Caesar will be familiar with the name Vercingetorix. Of the many great leaders to face Caesar on the field of battle, Vercingetorix was easily his greatest foreign adversary. While Caesar had some near defeats against Roman generals during the later civil war, Vercingetorix was the only Gallic leader to almost successfully drive the Romans out of Gaul. While most people refer to him as Vercingetorix, that wasn't actually the name he was born with. Vercin. It's pronounced like a W.
Doesn't everybody say Vercingetorix?
Yeah. Well,
you're going to say Vercingetorix?
I'm trying to say his name properly. It's like the way I say Genghis Khan instead of Genghis Khan.
It's so dumb.
I do as much as
makes
we
you sound dumb. To me, it does.
You wouldn't have even known the name if you hadn't heard me say it the wrong way a million times.
Well, I've heard everybody say Vercingetorix. So now when you say Vercingetorix, it sounds wrong.
Now we're setting the record straight. So Vercingetorix wasn't actually the name that he was born with. The Rix suffix at the end of his name actually means king. His birth name was Vercingetos. He was given the Rix suffix after he was appointed leader of the Gallic coalition against Caesar.
Vercingetos?
Yeah. In modern English, he would be known as King Vercingetos. Because Rix is...
It's like Merkin.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to define what a merkin is?
Isn't that a fake beard?
No, merkin is fake pubic hair, I thought.
Oh. That's what I have on my face. A merkin. That's what my dad always said. I need to shave my merkin.
He wanted you to shave your balls?
Well, no, he was making fun of my beard like it was only, it wasn't powerful.
Yeah, your dad makes fun of you for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, fuck you, Dad.
Something else that's cool about Vercingetorix's name is when... So you know how, like, modern names are usually... There's translations to their real meaning. Like, my name, Matthew, actually means gift from God, which, holy shit, that is so true. Vercingetorix, from what I was able to find out, the proper translation of it would be Warrior King of the Exalted, or something along those lines, or King of the Exalted Warriors.
What the hell?
And I mean, honestly, kind of deserved the title. Born sometime around 82 BC, and I'm going to be referring to him as Vercingetorix for the time being because
he's not Vercingetorix yet.
Yeah, he's not a Rix yet.
Working, jerkin, jackin.
Rix is very similar to the Roman term for king, which was Rex, R-E-X, and that's
like
why
a T-Rex.
the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the
king of the Tyrannosaurs, King Dino,
Kingosaurus
Kingosaurus Rex,
King Tyrant lizard, or the lizard King Tyrant, something like that.
Snake God.
Somebody will correct us in the live chat, and like I've said before, I appreciate it. I'd rather be right than an idiot.
Oh.
I'm still an idiot, but I'm trying to not be.
That's nice. You're trying.
Born sometime around 82 BC, Vercingetorix was the son of Celtulus the Avernian, leader of the Averni tribe. The Averni were the most powerful of the Gallic tribes, only rivaled by the neighboring Aedui. After defeating and subjugating the Aedui around 60 BC, the Averni became sort of the de facto leaders of Gaul.
Yeah.
You're already getting bored and playing with your toys?
Oh, sorry.
I promise that there's at least one battle in this episode. Gaul never had a true king, but as leader of the Averni, Celtulus was about as close to being king of the Gauls as there ever had been. Around 20 years before Caesar's campaign in Gaul, Celtulus attempted to make himself king and cement his family as hereditary rulers. Didn't really go very well for him, though. Although the Averni had families that were similar to nobles, traditionally leadership was a position you were elected to, not born into. Celtulus's attempt to break tradition and become king earned him many enemies, and in return for trying to make himself king, Celtulus was murdered by his fellow tribesmen.
Damn.
So, pissed off some people by... Surprisingly similar to the overall story of Caesar, that Caesar was trying to make himself king, people didn't like that, and they murked him for it.
So, where's Caesar right now?
So at that time, that was 20 years before his campaign in Gaul, so he was probably...
Fucking that king in the island?
And then getting kidnapped by pirates.
By the pirates?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're at. Okay.
Or that might have been around the time that he was getting run out of Italy because his uncle started shit with Sulla.
Shimi.
Marius. Gaius Marius.
No, who was the guy that was trying to kill him?
Sulla.
Yeah. That's right. Masula Oblongata.
Masula Oblongata.
Jafar. In my mind, it's Jafar.
Yeah, close enough. Much uglier than Jafar, though, from the...
Jafar was fucking ugly, though.
I mean, he was ugly, but he didn't have, like, horrible skin. And Sulla did seem like he would be a lot more fun to party with than Jafar was. Because Sulla
partied?
He partied with actors all the time.
Okay.
In 54 BC, the Gauls were getting really tired of the Romans marching around like they owned the place, and plus massacring them by the thousands. Caesar had recently crushed a revolt led by a Belgae tribe leader named Ambiorix and punished the tribes involved severely.
The Belgae. I remember them.
The Belgae, yeah. So Ambiorix, also notice the RAX suffix at the end of his name. Ambiorix was a Belgae prince who organized a revolt against Caesar that would have been the next episode in the series on Caesar, but...
So when we left off, he
had
left Britain.
Yeah, he had just come back from Britain,
the second wave,
and then saved a bunch of his men that got separated and stranded on the Belgae coast, actually, on the coast of Belgae territory. Then Ambiorix started a revolt. I mean, there's really a lot more stuff that was going on around that time period. Just trying to keep things within the scope of the show, because right. I mean,
you could do another 10-parter on this motherfucker, probably.
On Vercingetorix, yeah, that could be 10 episodes to do the entire story of Caesar. An entire podcast could be made just about the story of Caesar to fully tell it from start to finish, and all of the ways that these different events connected with each other and stuff that was happening in other areas of the Roman Empire that affected his actions, but trying to keep it within scope of the show. So Ambiorix started a revolt. Caesar crushed it. And I actually think that it was actually Titus Labienus, Caesar's right-hand man.
I'm Labienus.
Yeah.
I'm your fire.
Did a lot of the work crushing the revolt started by Ambiorix.
I'm remembering all these characters. I think I learned something. No.
Oh,
I'm just remembering the names.
that almost blew my mind. No, I mean even just remembering the names, you're
learning
something.
something.
So the reprisals, instead of breaking their spirits as Caesar had hoped, they only pissed off the Gauls even more. They kind of gave them that much more reason to continue revolting against him because all of these harsh reprisals were just pissing them off.
Mm-hmm.
A group of tribal leaders from multiple tribes met in secret to discuss a coalition against Caesar.
A group of tribal leaders from multiple tribes.
I was trying to think of a better way to word that, but I think
Where else would the tribal leaders be from? All from the same tribe?
Okay, I'll rewrite this on the fly. A group of tribal leaders met in secret to discuss a coalition against Caesar. Actually, yeah, that's a lot better. I didn't have very much time to go. I usually do a couple passes to finish the episode. We've been pressed for time this week.
But you've been
I haven't even
flicking the bean.
haven't even had time for that. Are you kidding me? Why do you think I've been so fucking cranky?
Yeah.
They had learned their lessons from the previous rebellions and knew that to successfully drive the Romans from Gaul, they would need to combine the strength of every tribe not already allied with Rome. It would be one of the largest alliances in Gallic history. I think it actually is the largest alliance in Gallic history.
And it was to fight Caesar?
Yeah, to try and get Caesar out of Gaul. Vercingetorix was present at the meeting and agreed to join the rebellion.
Oh.
His plan was almost ruined when his uncle forbade him from opposing Caesar, believing that it was far too dangerous. His uncle was afraid of more reprisals. They thought that they were going to try and kick Caesar out. They were going to lose. He'd get pissed off again, and then
wipe him out again.
A few thousand more people would get massacred.
Which was pretty smart.
Pretty accurate overall, considering how the overall story ends.
Yeah.
Vercingetorix insisted the Averni join the coalition, which ultimately got him and his followers expelled from the city of Gergovia, which was kind of like the Averni capital.
Okay. Where is that exactly?
It is
in
around,
modern days?
It's in northern France, I believe, or it's somewhere around the... Shit, I can't remember the name of the closest city in modern times.
Somewhere in northern France.
I believe so. I read the name of the closest city to it
Paris.
in modern times, but not Paris. Okay, fuck it, Paris. No, Paris isn't right.
Croissant.
Yeah, it was near modern day croissant
drink.
Oh yeah.
Even for the French.
Although he had lost the support of the Averni leadership, Vercingetorix wasn't willing to give up, and that's a theme with this guy. He just does not fucking give up.
Hell yeah.
He continued negotiating with neighboring tribes and was eventually able to raise an army of poor, angry Gauls thirsty for Roman blood. It wasn't the massive coalition they had hoped for, but it was at least a start. The new army, under the command of Vercingetorix, began attacking Roman outposts and tribes loyal to Caesar. So there were a handful of tribes that had already become allies of Caesar, and they declared war on them the same way that they declared war on Caesar. This coalition started attacking any Roman traders going through the area. They would slaughter them. Mm-hmm. They would attack Roman outposts. And then a decent amount of the Gauls started seeing what was going on, and they're like, wait a second, if we link up with these guys, we might actually be able to get the Romans the fuck out of here. So there was one point where the Romans even sent one of their Gallic allies to go and try and fight these guys. And they came back a couple days later saying like, oh no, it's just too dangerous making the trip over there, so we're not going to do it. And they couldn't do anything about it because at the time Caesar was busy in Italy.
He was busy in Italy doing what?
Dealing with a bunch of political drama, which he honestly didn't even want to do. So it was kind of an exciting thing for him finding out that there was another revolt in Gaul, because it not only was more exciting to go on campaign, you could make way more money doing that, way more money and way more glory on a campaign than just doing a bunch of political bullshit. The political bullshit was kind of mandatory to keep yourself in power, and you grease the right palms, jerk off the right people, have the
double
right parties. Whole lot of double fisting in ancient Rome. At the time of the initial attacks, Caesar was back in Rome dealing with political drama. Although he was a very adept politician, arguing with the Senate was nowhere near as exciting or lucrative as campaigning. Upon receiving the news of the uprising, Caesar was more than happy to have an excuse to return to his favorite hobby, slaughtering and subjugating the Gauls. As he made his way through Gaul, Caesar, so there's, like I said, there's a lot of other stuff going on around this time, and this whole campaign had a lot more steps to it. Yeah. But I tried to keep it to the most exciting and poignant parts.
Yeah. As you should.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Or else we'll end up on another 13-episode terror on one person.
Exactly. As he made his way through Gaul, Caesar learned of Vercingetorix and his army and began formulating a plan to defeat him. Instead of a long, drawn-out war, Caesar wanted to crush his opponent in one decisive battle, which was something that he had done before. He would much rather have one big set-piece battle and just end the fight right there than have to go through this big, long campaign of multiple battles, losing a lot of troops, costs a lot more money, which the armies were paid out of his own pocket.
Right.
Mostly paid out of his own pocket. They would still get
or whatever money he borrowed from somebody. Like, what's his name?
From
the fireman?
Yeah, from Crassus.
Crassus. That snake. He's the one that got filled with gold, right?
Yeah, had molten gold poured down his throat. Vercingetorix wasn't willing to risk his smaller and less organized force in a set-piece battle, so Caesar decided to force his hand. The Romans began laying siege to Gallic settlements and razing villages. Caesar knew that the rebels would eventually have to move against him or risk losing their homes and families. The ploy worked. Caesar and Vercingetorix faced each other for the first time at the Battle of Novio Dunham. I think that's how it's pronounced. Novio Dunham. So I wasn't able to find a whole lot of details about this battle.
Okay.
They were fighting over a city called Novio Dunham.
Two badasses, right?
He's still two badasses for sure, but he's still Vercingetorix at this point.
He hasn't become a badass. This is when when the badass beats up the young kid but lets him live, and then he leaves, trains, comes back stronger.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it's like the underdog upstart has his first defeat against the champ.
But that's what motivates him to...
But that motivates him to try even harder.
Right. Classic.
Although the Gauls fought bravely, they were no match for the Roman heavy infantry in open combat. After a grueling battle...
throwers.
For the what?
The poop throwers. What were they called?
Velite?
The Velite, dude. No match for the Velite.
Yeah.
The shit talkers.
After a grueling battle, Vercingetorix was forced to retreat after taking heavy losses. The city of Novio Dunham quickly fell under Roman control. The next major battle between Caesar and Vercingetorix came in the winter of 52 BC at the city of Avaricum. The Roman attacks on Gallic settlements had the unintended effect of sending more men to join the coalition. Vercingetorix was then able to secure the support of the Averni and was named the supreme commander of the Gallic coalition. Vercingetorix was now Vercingetorix.
Vercingetorix. Yeah.
So even though he lost his, most likely had a long hair, bitchin' mustache,
beer belly,
super ripped,
buff, tan.
I would assume probably not tan. I mean,
white.
They don't get a
pale.
Well, yeah. I mean, French.
Did they have the same accent as they do now?
I mean, they spoke
whatever hell it is. Drink.
Yeah, I don't even know
that
who
wasn't
we were
even
making fun
anything.
of there.
Yeah. It just sounds stupid. Drink again. Is it just me, or is the French accent annoying?
Oh, absolutely. I like it from French women.
Oh, really?
It's not like it's a fetish for me, but I can find it somewhat attractive in a kind of goofy way from French women. French men sound like semi-retarded douchebags. No offense. If we have any French listeners,
no offense, but go fuck yourself in your shitty accent.
No, because to them we probably sound like idiots too.
Yeah, no, the English.
Especially
when you don't speak English and you hear what it sounds like, it sounds really dumb.
It's funny hearing people that don't speak English try to the way that we'll make fun of other languages and speak a bunch of gibberish. Hearing that from different countries around the world.
Oh, we sound dumb.
It's surprisingly interesting to hear it, though, because it's
like that one song.
Oh, what? It's got a really long, complicated name.
I'll have to... whatever. You like a big bush?
I mean, maybe not big, but...
Have you ever had a bush so big where you had to peel it back to find the lips?
I have not, no. Wait, on me or on somebody else?
You got lips down there?
You don't?
You got pussy lips? That's cool. But you identify as a male?
I am a male. You don't have a protective barrier around your C and B?
C and B?
Cock and balls?
No. You have a vagina over your cock and balls?
You should see a doctor.
It's like a
a
hard
cloaca?
shell clam that opens up and reveals your penis and balls?
Well, it's not hard. I mean, the exterior isn't hard.
Is it is it scaly? What's going on here?
I'll post a picture online of it someday.
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
Anyway, getting back to the Gauls.
What the hell?
Went a little off the rails. So we were building up to the Battle of Avaricum.
I can't help it. Now I see like a underwater clam, like a big hard shell clam, and it opens up and just a bush goes poof, out of the shell. As it opens more, a little penis and some balls come out.
Okay, so you know at the beginning of Return of the Jedi when R2-D2 and C-3PO come up to the entrance of Jabba's palace, and there's that little round door that opens up, and the
little clit ball comes out.
Robot head on the end of an arm comes out. I mean,
it's just like that.
Except the doors covering the hole would be convex, like they stick out a little.
More like a Venus flytrap.
Have you never seen a penis before, Joel? I am so confused by this conversation. You're acting like this is strange.
I'm sorry.
You need to look at some anatomy books to figure out what's normal and not, because I think you need to see a doctor.
I'm at a loss for words. Let's just get back to the story.
So the Roman attacks on all these Gallic settlements had inadvertently unified a large portion of the Gauls, who were now serving underneath formerly Vercingetorix, but now Vercingetorix.
Vercingetorix.
He got the Rix suffix to his name. So in the lead up to the Battle of Avaricum, Vercingetorix had learned that meeting the Legion in open combat was suicidal. He'd already been beaten before. Instead, he adopted the Fabian strategy, named after the Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus. It's a great name.
Quintus.
The Fabian strategy avoided combat with the enemy and instead focused on denying them access to food and supplies. Over a long enough period of time, attrition would cause the enemy forces to withdraw or die.
Quintus.
As Caesar's legions approached Avaricum, Vercingetorix continually blocked off their supplies of food and materials and harassed them with constant hit-and-run attacks, trying to kill them through death by 1,000 cuts. By the time
that's just annoying and kind of scary. You never know when they're going to show up.
Oh, yeah, it wears them out. The Gauls were operating on their own territory, and they were able to...
They knew the land.
They were able to resupply themselves.
It's like what the Britons did, the British, right? Over on the island? Against Caesar.
Yeah, similar to it. The British were trying to do the same thing. They were trying to just outlast the Romans. Because it seems like the majority of the time that's one of the only ways a less organized force is able to beat the Romans is they just wear them down.
Yeah.
Because in full-blown open combat, two armies meeting each other on a field for a set-piece battle, the Romans were unmatched during this time period. The last time before this that anyone was really able to contest the Romans was Hannibal. Around, was that like 100 years before Caesar or something like that? But
are we going to talk about that one day?
Oh, for sure. It was Quintus Fabius Maximus who
developed
the Fabian strategy and used that against the Carthaginians.
Is he related to Maximus Meridius?
Maximus Meridius Maximus?
Yeah.
You mean Russell
Maximus
Crowe?
Meridius, yeah.
No. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I doubt it. Because wasn't he a Spaniard? Oh, you gotta put on your gladiator helmet for this? Mm-hmm. As Caesar's legions approached Avaricum, I already read that part. By the time the Romans reached the city, They literally only had one meal left. Vercingetorix had denied their supplies so effectively that by the time they started setting up the siege around the city of Avaricum, they had one meal left. And
Who got to eat it? Caesar?
Well, no, I mean, like each soldier had one meal left. But yeah, if there was literally only one left, I don't know, Caesar might have given it to one of his other soldiers because it would look good, and then he would send people out to go get him some good food. Are you not able to drink with your gladiator helmet on? Cold and hungry, the legions set up camp near the city and began their siege. And I think this is the second most interesting siege that Caesar has taken part in. Both of the greatest sieges, in my opinion, that Caesar took part in were against Vercingetorix. Avaricum was in an elevated position surrounded by almost impenetrable walls. Adding to the difficulty of attacking the city was the fact that it was flanked by marshes on 3 sides, forcing the Romans to approach from only one direction.
Nice.
Although it was said to be impregnable, Caesar had yet to meet a city he couldn't impregnate by shooting a hot load of Roman infantry into it. Soon after the siege began, the Romans ate their final meal, meaning they either had to conquer the city or starve to death. Or withdraw, which I don't think Caesar would have been all that happy about. This is in the middle of winter.
That's kind of motivational, right? It's like, all right, final meal, and then we go all out.
I actually think that if they weren't able to take the city, if they were forced to withdraw, it probably would have
we don't know what's going to happen.
Obliterated a huge... Well, we know that Caesar survived at least beyond his Gallic camp. Spoilers. I'm sorry.
Retreated or something.
So I was saying, before I just ruined the ending to the fucking story.
Hey, for once it was you and not me.
I keep jumping ahead in the Roman history stuff because I get so excited. So much cool shit that happened. I mean, it's all horrible, but there's so much cool shit that happened. Under freezing and torrential rainfall, Caesar ordered his men to begin building siege towers and a ramp leading up to the top of the walls of Avaricum.
Yeah.
This is where that Roman engineering really comes into play.
I love this shit.
Yeah. So
that was
good.
the shit in Britain that they did, where they were just building. They just build a fucking with whatever they can find. They just make a ramp.
Yeah.
And just climb into your castle. That's fucking sick.
So what they did is what the ramps were meant to do is the ramps were meant to support these siege towers that they rolled up the ramps, and then the Romans
would use the ramps were just made of like literally dirt. Like they would dig
dirt reinforced with wood. They would build wooden frames.
Wood and dirt. So it's like they're just making the land go up to the.
So it's
entrance.
sort of like they would have wooden frames on either side of the ramp, and then cross beams going through to help reinforce everything, and then they would just fill it with dirt, and they would keep building their way up. And they're doing this in combat. The Gauls aren't just sitting back in Avaricum watching them build this shit.
Right.
They're doing anything that they can.
If towers
to
are
stop
going
them.
up it though, then it's like it's a long ass ramp.
It's got to be a pretty long gradual slope because the
15% incline.
The
Probably.
towers have to be
5% incline.
I don't know. I'm not very good.
Probably maybe 5. I would say 7.6.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably about a 10% grade, something like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So it had to have been shallow enough that...
A shallow grade, probably.
Yeah, shallow grade. Because the Roman soldiers would have to push these siege towers up by hand. For 27 days, in the freezing rain and on the verge of starvation, the Romans continued to build their camp. Periodically, the Gauls would send small skirmishing parties to slow the construction, but the Romans were able to fight them off again and again. For 27 days, they're working on this shit, and they have almost no food. They ate their last main meal, and then they were just, like, picking shit off the ground, trying to eat something.
Do you think they were kind of like your dog Boa, where they were eating their friends' poop and stuff?
I don't know how much cat shit was around for them to eat, but I'm sure they would have eaten it if that's all they had at hand. Boa doesn't eat cat shit out of necessity. She does that by choice.
Pure joy.
Yeah, she really seems to enjoy it. As the ramp began to near completion, Vercingetorix devised a plan to stop them from breaching the walls. First, he had his men begin adding planks to the tops of the walls, increasing their height, and adding several days to the siege. So they're just increasing the height of the walls to make it harder for the Romans to build the ramp up to the top. Throughout the siege...
That's smart.
Yeah.
Was that Verco?
Yep, that was Vercingetorix. Throughout the siege, Vercingetorix continued his plan of victory through attrition and repeatedly blocked any attempts the Romans made to forage for food. So he was still trying to starve them out. One night, a group of Roman soldiers guarding the ramp noticed that it had begun to sag in the middle. Upon closer inspection, they realized the Gauls inside the city had tunneled underneath the ramp and started a fire. Which is pretty fucking smart.
That's fucking genius,
Yeah.
dude. Whoa.
The flames began burning through the wooden supports of the ramp, causing it to almost collapse.
That's fucking smart.
So just to clarify something, Vercingetorix isn't inside the city. He's got a camp outside the city that he's got his main army in, and that's where he's launching all of these hit-and-run attacks and trying to block the
And they don't
Romans
know where he
from
is?
foraging. That's getting into his main camp isn't their goal. Taking the city is their goal because the city is where the food is. And if they don't get any food, Vercingetorix has cut off all their supply lines. If they don't get to the food in the city, which the city had a massive food store, that was where they were keeping a large portion of the food
all
for
their
the
supplies and bullshit.
Yeah. So they had to get
Crazy.
into the city. So Vercingetorix isn't in the city. He's got his main army outside of the city. Inside the city is actually only a semi-small contingent of soldiers. I mean, there's probably a few thousand soldiers in there, but the rest of it is just civilians, women, children, things like that. So the people inside the city are having secret messages snuck in and out to communicate with Vercingetorix, and Vercingetorix is directing the defense of the city from outside of the city.
Okay.
Crazy. I want to clarify that now because when I was going through the story, I was getting confused due to later events, which I'll explain shortly.
That's a cool idea. They dug underneath and started burning.
Underneath the ramps and set fires, and it was
Smart
working.
as fuck.
But the Romans are so fucking organized and so well trained that they're able to respond to things like that faster
Normally
than
someone else wouldn't respond. They wouldn't even know it was happening.
Yeah, if it was another Gallic army that was attacking the city, that I don't know if they would have even
built a ramp.
I don't know if they would have even built a ramp in the first place.
They'd be using ladders and shit.
But if they did build a ramp, the plan to set the fire underneath and the follow-up that we're about to get to probably would have ended the siege right there. As the Romans worked on reinforcing the ramp and putting out the fires popping up from beneath the earth, Vercingetorix launched his Hail Mary surprise attack. So unbeknownst to Caesar, so you know how Avaricum is surrounded on three sides by a marsh?
Yeah.
Caesar has his army on the one side that isn't marshland. Vercingetorix got 10,000 volunteers from his army to sneak through the marsh around the back of the city and sneak into the city. So there's 10,000 more troops inside the city that Caesar doesn't know about.
Fuck.
So all of a sudden, 10,000 Gauls suddenly charged out of the city and into the Roman camp carrying buckets of tar and torches. This is while they're trying to deal with the ramps that are on fire, because there was 2 ramps that they were building.
Okay.
They're trying to deal with that, and all of a sudden 10,000 troops that they had no idea were inside the city came charging out of the gate, and they're just running around with these buckets of tar, throwing them on the siege equipment and setting them on fire, and then attacking the Roman lines. And this is in the middle of the night. So the majority of the Roman troops are sleeping
or trying to
They've
recover.
got, their guards set up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
minimum defenses at the time.
Yeah, and these guys are running around setting everything on fire. So the Romans have to go around putting out these fires and fighting off attacks from this sudden 10,000 man strong army. And they're starving, and it has not stopped raining. It hasn't stopped raining since the beginning of the siege. It rained from the beginning of the siege until the end of the siege.
Wow.
And the rain just...
So how's that not helping with the fires?
I mean, it does to a certain point, but the
tar and the fire, they know what their special juice is powerful.
Yeah. For the rest of the night, the Romans were forced to split their attention between fighting back the Gauls and extinguishing the fires they set. The Gauls used the torches and tar to set fire to the siege equipment and charged through the Roman lines, cutting down as many men as they could. The chaos continued until dawn.
Woo.
As the sun rose the next morning, Vercingetorix was devastated to see that although singed and smoldering, the Roman siege equipment still stood. They had to grab their siege towers that they had set up ready to go up the ramps as soon as the ramps were finished. They had to pull them back to the rear of the lines so the Gauls would stop setting them on fire. The Gauls' final attempt to break the siege had failed. By the end of the following day, the ramp was complete. The Romans camped out for the night and prepared for their final attack the following morning.
Fuck.
On the day of the assault, the rain had grown worse than ever, turning the ground into a morass. No sane general would mobilize his men in such weather, or so Vercingetorix thought. Despite the weather, Caesar assembled his men and launched the final attack. They were starving, and their only hope for food lay within the walls of Avaricum. So
it's not motivation to get in there.
The only
What is?
If they weren't completely cut off from supplies and unlikely to be able to survive the trip back, he probably would have broke off the attack so they could go and figure out how to resupply
he probably
themselves.
Gave a badass speech.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was like, look, we retreat now, we're dead. We don't get in, we're dead. We're going in.
And think about just how angry these Romans would be at these Gauls for putting them in that. Well, I mean, the Romans put themselves in that fucking position.
You don't think like that when you're there.
But when they're there, the Gauls are the ones that are preventing them from getting food. They're the ones that are... Okay, so Caesar's the one forcing them to sit out in the rain and build these fucking ramps while they're starving.
But he's a smart man. He that's not what they think.
Oh, yeah. He would be redirecting all of that hatred towards the Gauls. And the Romans were real fucking angry.
Fuck.
Due to the weather, many of the Gallic sentries were forced to take shelter, leaving the walls largely unguarded, because Vercingetorix didn't think that an attack was going to come in weather that bad. But the Romans were out of time.
Got some time.
The ramp's ready. They got to go, or else
We're starving.
They're going to starve.
Go. So Vercingetorix might not have known that they were completely out of food.
No, he knew that they
knew they were low, right? But if he knew that they were starving, then he should have known they were going to attack.
I mean, that's a pretty good point.
So he must have thought, okay, we got to be close, but maybe not, because...
It was also the lack of discipline on the part of the Gauls that caused the...
You like discipline.
The scouts and the guards that were supposed to be keeping an eye on this building process weren't there.
Drinking, smoking, toking, jacking, jerking.
They were sitting inside nice and warm, eating some of the food that they had stockpiled inside the city. They were like, there's no way they're going to attack today. It's raining so fucking hard. Nobody's going to be launching an attack in this. The ground's slippery. The mud's super deep. It's a bad idea to attack right now.
Yeah.
But
perfect idea to attack.
They were desperate, and Caesar was smart, so they launched the attack.
So they fucked.
The remaining Gauls were forced to fall back to defensive positions within the city and await the next Roman attack, because the Romans took the walls so fast that the few, I mean, it was probably like a couple hundred that were guarding the walls.
69.
Probably about 69 Gauls guarding the walls. They fell back into the city, and they realized, okay, we're under attack. Shit's going down. We're going to fall back to our pre-planned defensive positions, and when the Romans come down in here, we'll fuck them up in the city. It's not how it went, because the attack didn't come. The Romans simply lined the walls and casually looked down on the city. They made their way along all of the walls until they completely encircled the entire city from the top of the walls. And
Don't go in.
And it was specifically said that they just
waited,
took a beat, and looked at all these Gauls that were like the remaining soldiers that were still inside the city.
And that was a Caesar move, probably.
It was, full-blown Caesar move.
Go in.
It was an intimidation move.
Surround the entire place.
Completely surround the place. Make sure nobody can get out, because we're real angry at these motherfuckers, and we're going to make sure that they pay for it.
Fuck, and he was still in his gold filigree.
Oh yeah, it never left his gold filigree.
Did he go in with them, or he waited out?
I would assume that he most likely waited outside.
Well, he didn't want to get his gold filigree wet.
Yeah, and didn't want
gold rusts.
didn't want to give the Gauls the pleasure of even attempting to kill him. They wanted to insult the people that had been holding the city. So it was below Caesar. He was just going to send his men in to handle that.
He's just going to stay at his fancy tent with the water boy and the pussy butts.
Yeah, that's factually accurate. So the Romans surrounded the city, and that was when the reality of the situation set in for the Gauls. This wasn't going to be a battle. It was going to be a massacre.
Fucking slaughter, yeah.
The Romans began pelting the Gauls with javelins and other projectiles, inflicting major casualties on the defending forces. And the Gauls don't have the discipline and training that the Romans do, where they know how to withstand those attacks. They would form a testudo.
The turtle.
Yeah, the turtle. They would hold the line.
Learn something.
You did. They would hold the line, and they would have the discipline to know that as long as the person to the right of them and the person to the left of them were still there, they were going to stay there.
They're going to be okay, yeah. Instead, they were probably running around freaking out.
Yeah, Caesar had beaten Gauls and Britons before by pelting them with a shitload of projectiles, and they just didn't know how to withstand it. And as soon as a certain small percentage of a army breaks and runs,
they all start running.
It goes through the rest of the army, and they all end up breaking. I think you only have to take out about 10% of an army before the rest of it will break during these times.
Yeah, 10.69%.
The defending troops began to falter, and many broke from the lines and ran. As their line broke, more Gauls fled, trying desperately to find some way to escape the city.
As their water broke,
the Gauls fled, desperately trying to find some way to escape the city. That was when the Romans descended on them. After nearly 30 days of freezing rain and very little food, the Romans were eager to take out their frustration on the helpless inhabitants of Avaricum.
Fuck.
In the ensuing massacre, no prisoners were taken. Out of the 40,000 people within the walls of Avaricum, only 800 escaped.
Holy shit.
Out of 40,000 people, only 800 survived.
39,000 people died.
The attack on Avaricum. And this was a city. It had civilians in it.
Yeah.
There were men, women, and children in there. And there weren't a whole lot of soldiers inside the city because Vercingetorix had his main army outside of the city.
And he didn't attack? From the back? Use the ramp.
Well, no, there wasn't much that he could do because at that point, by the time he found out that the attack was going down,
it's too late.
It was already a massacre because he didn't think that the Romans were going to make a move.
He could have done the same thing. He could have came around, used the ramp, and then surrounded all the Romans inside there.
Oh no, Caesar had like 2 legions watching his back, if not more.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that would be
a partial of his army.
A good, highly trained and highly motivated and organized Roman heavy infantry watching their backs.
Yeah.
Vercingetorix could see the writing on the wall. He knew if there was some way that he could have broken through the lines and gotten into the city to rescue everybody, I'm sure that he would have, because if the Romans got into the city...
He knew that he would just get his entire army killed.
Yeah.
So did he split?
If there was some way that he could have stopped the Romans from taking the city, he would have had to have done it, because that was completely defeating his plan of defeating them through attrition. He was letting them get to a stockpile of food. If there was some way that he could have stopped that, he would have made a move to do it. Mm-hmm. Because if he could have prevented them from taking that stockpile, that portion of the war would have been over. The Romans would have had to try to get out of there and waited until like the following spring to come back into Gaul. That would have given the Gauls more time to prepare. They would have been able to gather more people together and more time to plan. So it was just out of his hands. It all happened so quickly. There was no way for him to prevent it from happening.
So he split?
Well,
what did he do? Yeah.
From his main camp outside of the city, Vercingetorix was unable to do anything to stop the slaughter of his people. He watched helplessly as the Romans killed every man, woman, and child they could find.
Back.
With Avaricum lost, the Romans were able to rest and resupply within the city. But, unwilling to give up, Vercingetorix took his remaining troops and marched towards the Arverni city of Gergovia to plan his revenge. And that's where we're going to pick up in the next episode.
So he's pissed. Like, at that city, those were like his boys, right? Those were his people.
Vercingetorix, he was a pretty brutal leader. He maintained discipline. The army that he's leading is a mishmash of a bunch of different tribes. So the way that he was able to maintain discipline among them is by being very harsh and very strict. So I wouldn't say that he was the nicest person ever. But yeah, he probably would want revenge for Avaricum, but Avaricum wasn't an Arvani city.
Okay. Maybe it would have been 10,000 like, troops they killed?
He would have been pissed that he lost, however many troops that he lost in that battle. He would have been angry about that because that would take a big chunk out of his army.
And his paycheck.
Yeah, well, I think mainly he did stand to gain a lot by defeating Caesar, because if he was able to push the Romans out of Gaul, at that point he had been elected the supreme leader of the combined Gallic military. That would have put him in a really good position to actually make himself a king the way that his father wanted to be a king.
If he was the first, finally someone took down fucking Caesar.
And his father didn't have enough support to be king because the rest of the Arvani, the rest of their tribe got pissed off that he was breaking tradition and trying to garner all this power. I think the reason that Vercingetorix was such a strong opponent for Caesar is because they were so similar. They were both kind of trying to do the same thing, where they were trying to take a country that wasn't a kingdom. I mean, Rome used to be a kingdom, but they went through a lot of trouble to make it stop being a kingdom and turn it into a republic. Caesar was trying to turn that republic back into a kingdom so he could be Rex, so he could be king. I think that at least to some substantial degree, Vercingetorix was trying to do the same thing. He was trying to unify Gaul under him as king. So they're sort of mirrors of each other, kind of similar to the way
he had his own motives.
Yeah, and
he wasn't really trying to save his people. He was trying to lead. He was trying to take over his country.
He would have cared about his own people enough to want to make some sacrifices for him,
or sacrifice some of them
in the same way that Caesar took care of his men, but he also sent a lot of them to their deaths to
win.
So they're very similar to each other in that sense, and I think that that's why they made such good opponents,
right?
During the Gallic campaign, and it's also kind of strange how like Caesar was mirroring Sulla to a certain degree, and then Vercingetorix is mirroring Caesar to a certain degree. It's like
they're all influenced by each other.
And they're also a bunch of insane, not insane, but they're all a bunch of brilliant,
you could say insane,
brilliant sociopathic narcissists.
Yeah, insane.
Like we were talking about before. Which you could call that insane.
Insanity.
They might not meet the modern definition of insanity, but they were willing to do some insane things to meet their goals.
Who banged the most chicks, though? That's like the most important question of all this. Julius Caesar, Masula Oblongata, or Vercingetorix?
I would say Caesar was so preoccupied with attaining power that I think that between those three, I would say Vercingetorix was probably number one.
Oh,
because they
really?
were a bunch of barbarians. So he was. I don't know. That's really tough to say.
It's not.
I would for sure
important.
say that all of their body counts were well into the hundreds.
Body counts? No, I'm talking.
No, that's what I mean.
Okay.
The body
Who
count.
killed the most?
Body count in terms of the number of people.
JJs?
Not just vaginas.
Any hole, any port in a storm.
Any port in a storm. They were all well within the hundreds, if not thousands.
What about deaths? Who killed the most?
Deaths, Caesar killed way more than Sulla and Vercingetorix. I think that Caesar's body, like kill count, is higher than Vercingetorix and Sulla combined.
Nice.
Because
fucking crazy.
I think Caesar's probably responsible for killing more of his own people than Sulla and Vercingetorix combined also, because of the civil war that happened later in his life.
Fuck.
Because damn near everybody that died in that war was a Roman citizen or a very close Roman ally. But that's it for this episode. We're gonna pick up there in the next episode. We're gonna be going into the siege of Gergovia, and we are going to climax with the Battle of Alesia, which I think the Battle of Alesia is the greatest, maybe second greatest, considering the battles that ultimately ended the Roman Civil War. But it might be Caesar's most brilliant victory.
Fuck yeah.
Was the Battle of Alesia. It's one of the battles that I'm the most interested in. And I posted about it on Instagram the other day.
The Battle of Alesia.
Speaking of Instagram, you can follow us on Instagram at Iconoblast Podcasts. You can follow me at Coop Nukem, and you can follow Joel at Joel R. Benner. Send us messages on there. We both do our best to respond to every single message that we get from listeners. We love interacting with everybody. We like getting new ideas for episodes. Fan art is apparently a new awesome thing that we're getting now, cool. which is really fucking cool. Thank you again, Snatchface Mahoney. Thank you again,
Snatchface Mahoney.
Thank you again, our personal ghost, for the package of historic artifacts that we now have, which I still can't fucking believe.
Shit, that lost my coin.
Don't forget to check out Softcore History, our brothers in arms on the Drinkin' Bros History channel on YouTube. You can join us for our weekly premieres on Monday nights. Joel and I are in the live chat for the weekly premieres on Monday nights on the Drinkin' Bros History YouTube channel. It's
a lot of fun. The chats are crazy fun. We all talk to each other. We tell jokes. The chats usually end up on a separate tangent that's going on from the show. And
there's been enough people in the live chats now that sub-conversations have been popping up where there's one group of people having a conversation about this, another group of people having a conversation about this. And then,
it's a lot of fun.
Everybody's kind of chiming in about the episode. It is a lot of fun. I highly encourage everybody to go and check out the Drinkin' Bros History YouTube channel and join us for those Monday night premieres.
For a couple minutes, you can say hello.
And anything else that we need to plug before we go? I really got a tinkle.
You have a little tinky. Because your bladder's so tiny, because you're a puny boy, you have to go pee-pee.
I got to break open that weird clamshell that I got down there so I can go pee-pee.
You have to go pee-pee.
All right, well, we will see everybody next week.
Yeah, we will.
I am Matt Cooper.
Joel Benner.
Reminding you to never take anything at face value.